Okay, all fine points. Dilip Cherian, as someone who is in the world of corporate communication, public relations, I don't know what's the right word now to use. I'm worried about. Are you, for example, are you worried about using the word, for example, of lobbyist? Would you see yourself as a lobbyist? And do you believe, as Mahesh Jetmalani says, it's time to bring it in the sunlight and like the Americans do, let's do it in the open.
I agree with what Mahesh and Suhel are saying. Mahesh talks about a special kind of lobbying, which is in the public domain in an American kind of sense, and Suhel talks of marketing communications. Essentially, what I'm talking about now is that there is in India 3 or 4 kinds of lobbyists, and at least 2 of them are on the side of people who are doing arms deals and lobbying for things which cannot be mentioned. But the fact is that there are people who are doing what you said in the beginning of the program, advocacy and government relations, where it's in the public domain.
What do you think Neera Radia was doing? In your description, what do you think Neera Radia was doing?
I think Neera Radia was also skirting on the side of political manipulations, which comes out in the conversations in terms of cabinet making and things like that. Where what lobbying is about influencing government policy, not about deciding who goes into the cabinet or which bureaucrat gets appointed somewhere.
Okay.
I think essentially companies have the right and the ability, and industry groups have the right and the ability to express themselves, to push for policy changes, and if it's in the public domain, I for one believe that that's legitimate and that needs to be in an essential element of economic activity.
Okay,
what Salman Khurshid is proposing,
yes, go ahead.
What Salman Khurshid is proposing is probably something which attempts to control the nebulous who are outside this realm. And as Suhel said at the beginning, and as I've been always saying, unless you control the people to whom the payments or the exercise of leverage is being exercised upon, there's no point.
Okay, point taken. Point taken. The fact is in India where you have the bureaucrats and the politicians with so much of discretionary power, you will have lobbyists. You will have people who try and influence policies for special interests. Let's be honest, Neera Radia was batting for Ratan Tata, was batting for Mukesh Ambani, but was doing it openly. What's wrong with that?
Was batting for Unitech.
Was batting for Unitech. So
and you can argue she did a very good job.
And yes, because on the other side, there are bureaucrats and politicians, obviously, who needed to be influenced. So, you can legalize lobbying, but what about the bureaucrats and the politicians?
Rajdeep, this whole issue of whether you need a law for lobbyists or not, in my opinion, is a complete non-issue. You can call them image managers, call them public relations consultants, call them communicators, call them what you like, call them lobbyists. What's the basic problem? The basic problem, as has been pointed out, is crony capitalism. You have a nexus between business and politics. Why do you have this nexus? Because of the way elections are funded and the way politicians take money under the table from various kinds of money bags, including criminals, including mafia dons, to fund their elections.
So lobbying will make no difference to
right.
It. So legalizing lobbying will have absolutely no difference.
So what you're having is, when it comes, you have payback time, you tailor your policy, you manipulate those rules. So you might say we've done away with the license control Raj, but instead you have an ugly underbelly. And what is that ugly underbelly? And that's called crony capitalism. As the Radia conversations have clearly indicated, you are here having influential people who are not just trying to influence policy. They are going beyond influencing policy. They are determining who gets appointed to those